Hi, welcome to Trauma and Tea. I'm Molly.
I'm Matt.
And today we're with the lovely Danielle. I'm really excited to have on today. Dan, before we get into all the amazing things you're currently doing, obviously the podcast is called Trauma and Tea. And your story obviously hit me really, really close to home because I'm a mum, lots of us are mums. Thank you so much for being brave and coming on today and sharing, obviously, your story. And would you like to start by telling us a little bit about yourself and why you have decided to come on the podcast and why you're here today?
Yeah, like I say, you've come and said to me about the podcast you're doing, and would I like to have a chat and kind of go through, the trauma and the ups and downs that I've had since losing Chloe. I think it's a really good idea that I can just, come and spread and kind of explain what my life's been like over the last year and a half,
Yeah, the aim
it'll just help other people to...
Yeah, the aim is maybe other people might connect to it and think, I'm going through this, or I know someone who's going through this.
So how you can support them, or what can I do?
Yeah. So where would you like to start? Because I obviously remember Chloe when she was,
Yeah. I mean, 2020 was kind of like the turning point for me. From like an early age of 14, 15, going into hairdressing and just working constantly throughout my adult life. Having Chloe young and then having my two boys a little bit later on in life. I kind of just went into the normal way of life, which was, get a job, earn money and support, the kids and kind of just like run through life like that, like we don't know anything else. And I think that's one of the biggest things I look back on now and I think, wow, we are all kind of in school and then we're taught to just come out of school, get a job and earn money. And there's nothing else other than just that. So we just all follow that same thing, don't we? We're all kind of conditioned that way. Get this job, get that job, that job earns you that money, whatever. But deep down within me, I knew I was different. I didn't want to just get a job that gave me money. I wanted to do something that I was good at. So hairdressing was one of those things. And to be honest, like even going through hairdressing and doing the hair, it was like I was never ever completely happy. And when I speak to you now about how and what I've learned from 2020, it kind of goes back to those problems I had from, say, 16 to 30-something years of age. And that was that I'd been living with this, with the overactive mind. And people call it ADHD. I don't like to label anything, but ADHD is a massive thing, and is something that can affect a lot of people in different ways. But I lived with it without knowing that I had it. I think you do deep down know you're different, but I see it as a what's the word? I know. I think it's a good thing to have.
I think it can be a positive thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's pulled me through so much. And I think when you're able to get a grip of it, it is quite
special. Yeah, I agree.
Because you take chances, and you're not as scared as the majority of people. Like yourself. Business is not a big deal. If you want to do something, you just do it. Yeah, to us it's normal, and you just have an idea and you think, I'm going to do it. I don't care how I get to it. You just do it.
Just don't think about it.
And you don't think about it. You just do it. So there is one of an element of, well, I'm going to use it to my advantage.
Yeah.
And I think over the years, I think you, like I say, I was in hairdressing. I qualified. I quickly became salon owner, sorry. Then I went and managed in Cardiff. Then I was in Supercuts, and everywhere I seemed to go, it was like it wasn't enough. So it wasn't that the job wasn't enough. It was that my mind wasn't challenged. And I think when I got up to 2020, I think I was like 3 years into event managing, so I did a lot of working away. So I worked with different brands. We activated like brands all over the country, and that varied from hairdressing,
The big
hair
brands.
products,
Yeah,
to
same
like
and seeing
Coca-Cola,
your stuff. And
yeah,
I didn't
resume, all different stuff. So anything that the company I worked for or different ones had, depends on whether I liked it or not. I say, yeah, I'll do that, and then it became quite a big thing for me. So, of course, having a salon and property and doing event managing was kind of difficult in a normal life. But for me, I just carried on doing it. And then obviously COVID hit, and we couldn't work in the salon. I was against wearing masks. I didn't want to be told I had to do this and I had to do that. So again, I was being pulled from like what I believed in and what I should be doing. And again, I wasn't going to do it.
And we were the last to come out of it when I was saying to you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were the last, and we had the worst funding, and we had the least help.
Yeah. Well, at the time, I had the salon, and I run the landlord might just said if I wanted to come out. I was in a break clause, 5 years with a break clause of 18 and 36 months. And I rang them at 19 months and I said, look, I want to come out. So I didn't have to go through all the the help and they call it the grants and stuff. I didn't have any of them. So it was just a case of the landlord saying, yeah, you can come out. So I was lucky to come out to there and just I went and worked in Tesco just to have a job, because it was one of those places that wouldn't have shut down. I was there for 16 weeks, and honestly, like as lovely as it was to meet people, I found it one of the most difficult jobs, because it just didn't challenge my mind. And I think at that point I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna take time out and I'm just gonna find myself. And it wasn't until I watched Jamie Redwood, who was a guy over in the Rhondda, who was actually doing like an hour session for 12 weeks, and he went through managing the mind, emotion and physical body, and knowing that all those three managed and balanced together will actually give you a better quality of life. And I watched his video on YouTube and I thought, oh my god, this man's in the mountains, he's like, I don't know where he's got in water, like I wanted some of that, and that's what I did. And if it wasn't for him and for me being the person I am to just jump in it and say, right, okay, I'm going to do it, I don't think I would have been able to then come to where I am now, into Chloe. So a part of me believes that the universe, going into spiritual then, looking back, it kind of took me on a path of where I needed to be. Because you can't prepare yourself for losing a child, you can't. Even with all the journey that I'd gone on and learning all the things that I'd learned through TikTok learning, through reading books, which I'd never done, ever. I went to great schools as a child, and I could have read books when I didn't. I needed to read it. I couldn't sit down and read a book. Yeah. And when I met Jamie Redwood, who trained me, and he taught me about mind, meditation, going into cold water therapy back in 2020. If it wasn't for all of those lessons and those learnings, I would never have read a book. I would never have learned the things I've learned about my body, about who I am, why I am, how I've become who I am, and being able to sit in those things and allow those traumas to come through. Yeah. So without learning and reading and going on all these different kind of social platforms, I would never ever have been able to have coped, I don't think, without Chloe, with all of that happening. So going back to 2020 was the start of my journey of understanding and being able to cope better than I have coped before. And I think walking around with no shoes on, going into the forest with no shoes on, sitting by trees, talking to trees, people don't think that's like crazy, don't they?
No, but just being grounded.
Yeah,
taking your shoes off.
Knowing that, like he said, take your shoes off. And I'm like, oh yes. And he's like, well, you like that, do you? And I remember sitting there and we meditated on the side of the mountain, Clydach, and he said, yeah, doing well. And I said, yeah, I like it, And it was almost like
you felt home.
Yeah, because when I was younger, my mum would say, put your shoes on now, put your coat on, don't be cold. And they are all the things you say as a mother because you love your kids and you want the best for them. But at the same time, I felt like I needed to take my shoes off. And sometimes you grow up saying to your kids then, put them on. But now I just say, if you don't want your shoes on, take them off. Like, I'm the total opposite to what my parents were. And that's not to say that my parents didn't bring me up right, because they did. My mum and dad loved me to, a lot, but there's lots of things that we learn through conditioning, and I just think it's good to recognise it and let that go, and not to continue that moving forward, you know. And it is really important, especially when you're going through grief and you're going through different kinds of problems that arise, you know. So yeah, grounding, taking shoes off, and knowing why that's important. You know, like electric and a magnetic field need to come together for that to be balanced. So if you don't take your shoes off, then you're not. No, you're not connecting, and it's not allowing the body to neutralize. So if you've got a lot of what do they call it? Should I think the word? If your body is, help me out, Bernard.
Do you mean like if you want to lose a bit of energy and
inflammation?
Oh,
so the ground 30 minutes a day, it actually reduces the inflammation within the body. So going back years and years ago, you know, if you were to take your shoes off, you probably have less inflammation, and you know. So
yeah,
it is
what
good
people
to
don't do now, and people don't have time to go around.
Don't run our feet, so we don't have any connection, do we?
We
You know,
don't.
to neutralise the body. So little things like that are natural, and they're good. You know, it's the way to go. And then obviously running, having exercise, regular exercise. If there's an emotion coming through, don't shut it down. Bring it into your heart, change it. You know, if there's problems that you kind of feel with your parents growing up, and you resent certain things, I think it's really important that we understand why they did those things. Not my family, just my family or anyone's family. For anyone to have a disconnection between families, it's usually because of the understanding, not understanding why or how, or you know. But being able to just being able to just understand what they went through, why they did what they did, and then understanding it and then letting go and accepting it helps you to let go of resentment, and then allows you then to just flow through your life and think, right, okay, I own my life. You know, I'm in control of my life. You know, I understand why these things happened, and not become a victim to anything of your past, you know. So I think those things are really important. I think in 2020, learning all those things, for me, was one of the biggest, most important things I've ever done. And cohort therapy is another one.
Yeah,
getting into water.
Yeah, my daughter had 5 months off school, and all she did was go to Tenby for 5 months, and she did cohort therapy regularly. Because I felt like I was losing her to what we lose kids to now, and it's the best thing she had done, because she came back and she's back stronger than ever. And it was against school policy, it was against other things, but for me as a mother, I felt she needed to be there, and it was the best thing I did, and obviously the best thing you've done. It is.
Can I ask, just to give a bit of context to the listeners, can you tell us a bit about Chloe and what actually happened in the journey? Yeah,
so Chloe, my daughter, would have been 19 not Friday coming, the big Friday. She would have been 19, and she passed away in 2022. At 17 years of age in a car accident. The driver was a drunk driver, and from that accident, she passed. Obviously, you know, it's been on the telly, it's been in the news, it's, you know, it's nothing that nobody knows. They'd gone out playing with her friends, and that evening she was alone, quite late at night, and still out. And the boy obviously had said, look, you know, we've got a lift, you know, come with us. And I think they'd already paid £10 for the lift. And they were in a car, there was no drink driving, and the boy had offered to grab his car and be able to take Chloe home a few hours later. And they got in that car, and you know, the car come off the side of the road, and the accident killed Chloe instantly. And he survived, didn't he? He survived, yeah. So we obviously, you know, we went to court with that. We went to High Court as well, to see if we could get any more time, because obviously, you know, a death like that need to be sitting for a long more time.
Remind me how what was his sentence?
So the first sentence was 3 years and a few months, which we didn't think was right. So we took it to High Court, and we managed to get 5 years, 7 months. but because of him pleading guilty, they take off 25% so far. So, you know, that in itself is difficult to digest, because it's, you know, we live in a life sentence without Chloe, and yes, and 5 years, and then serving only half of that is not enough time to sit and think about what you've done and how you're going to come out and rebuild your life for that not to happen again, you know, and to know as well that he'd been stopped previous times, which hasn't gone out in the paper, which
I wasn't actually aware of that. No, I was not too aware of that.
Yeah, so
my next question was going to be, do you feel like obviously he's like got remorse because is easy on himself, but then he's done it previous times,
so he'd been stopped 5 times prior to this,
and I gave him 25%.
So he'd been stopped 5 times prior for, you know, drink driving, but when he got to the station, he'd blown under. So released him, didn't give him a drug test, and that's why now Gwent do. So if they blow under now for alcohol, I have been told that they do give drug tests now. If an alcohol one fails, so they pass it, then they instantly give a drug test now, just in case. Because obviously it's the drugs in the system. When the car was crashed, he was under the influence of 3 different types of drugs and alcohol. And that was a big thing for me, because I said, well, if he'd been drug tested prior, then that may have stopped him from driving, and that may not have occurred. You just don't know. So obviously this wasn't something that was very publicised.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, but it needs to be highlighted, and I think now Gwent have put different, you know, drug tests in place. You know, it costs a lot of money, and obviously they're trying to get funding for that, you know, these kits and tests to be available.
Yeah, because the problem we got is, if I remember rightly, when the incident happened, did he start drinking by the side of the road to kind of hide?
No, to be honest, like I say, I can't really speak much about it, because obviously it can be quite controversial, but he'd already drunk prior to the accident, and there were 4 bottles in the car for him to drink. I mean, he just started to drink them after. It wouldn't make a difference, because they do toxicology reports, which will then base it on it happening prior to that, so they'll take off those anyway. So it wouldn't make a difference. He'd already been drinking and taking drugs prior to it, so made no answer difference that he didn't after. But yeah, that you did do that.
And just in terms of your spiritual journey, did that start before this incident? It did start before.
Yeah, so like I say, it started 2020. Chloe passed away in 2022. And prior to it, obviously Chloe, she'd come to water with me quite often. She was on her own little journey, you know, and at that age I think they go through lots of different things, you know, they try different things, and they're going out with different people, and, you know, their social circle is very different. You know, you have one friendship circle which may not go out, you've got another friendship circle that do go out, you've got people that experiment, you know, all different social circles are different, and I think that age is just, it's very much all about that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And trying to find out where you fit in.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think for Chloe, it was wrong place, wrong time. You know, she'd gone out that night, and I remember her ringing and with her friends and saying, "Oh, Mum, you should have come to Platform Neb." And, you know, there was, I think it was, oh God, Vetters Only, and something else. And she was like, "Oh, you would have loved it." And I was like, "No, I don't go out playing," you know. And I think my spiritual journey stopped me from that. You know, I'm not going to say I never went out, because I did go out, you know, once upon a time. I had a little drink, but anyone that, you know, knows me will say I was never a big drinker anyway. But if I did ever have a drink, you know, feel a bit ill the next day, or
yeah, it wasn't really like you.
No, it just never was. I didn't really enjoy it. I think you just do it just to kind of not fit in, but make yourself feel a bit better. And I think, again, going through your spiritual journey, you learn so much about yourself. You realise that actually, why am I using alcohol to get me to that place, when you should be able to find that happy place through yourself.
Yeah.
So again, that's another, we'll go on to that in a minute, like when we go on to the next bit, but part of your spiritual journey is knowing that alcohol is the devil, and it is a spirit, and it's not great for us. I know we're not saying that you shouldn't do it and you shouldn't drink while being spiritual, but when you learn about it, you don't want it. You don't want to be around it,
Yeah, I don't like the way
you learn about it. Yeah, and I think, especially with Chloe, knowing that I connect with her on a different level without it, kind of really steers you away from it.
Yeah. Do you think Chloe's little journey and also your journey happening beforehand, do you think it's helped you connect with her now in her parenting?
100%, yeah. Weeks, months before, we say, you know, I sit on the bed and, you know, we like watch these YouTube things, and we'd do some like third eye training, and, you know, wow, what can you see? And, you know, we always just used to think you'd be able to see something, but sometimes it's not that, I can just feel it, you know.
Yeah.
But I do remember once sitting on the bed and I shut my eyes, I just listened to this YouTube thing, and then it kind of like shuts off and it allows you to kind of like sit and like connect. And I remember it was like a 4D video in my mind. Like, you know, when you dream, you kind of see it. Or if you meditate, at least, sometimes your eyes see black and yellow. So it could be like, I don't know, like a building or an outline of a building. So it's all black, and then the yellow behind is kind of like showing you the shapes of the building. Mm-hmm. Or you could see a bird, and that would be like black, and then the rest would be yellow, and the floor would be black. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd see these things through like just yellow and black, or maybe purple. But this was different.
Green and purple.
Yeah, but it's normally like two colours in it, and there's normally like a shadow of like the shapes and buildings you see or whatever.
Yeah.
But with this, it was like a 4D. So it was kind of like, you've got, do you remember the, what's that place called? When you go towards both, and you go down into the mines. Heritage Park. Years ago, they used to have like this dance came down, and the screen would come through.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that, like a 4K. And I could see this image in my mind. It was like this side of the wall was black, and that was just a wall like this. And then there was another wall here, say, going all the way across there, and I'm standing over there. So I could see this wall, and I could see that wall. And then there's a big bright white light coming through, and there's a little girl standing in the doorway with a white dress on and long blonde hair. Now, it didn't look like Chloe, but I knew it was.
Yes.
I can't describe it. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
It's like, even though you can't see the face, you know it's them, but it was a white dress and long blonde hair. And she was just standing there. And it reminded me like of a cubicle toilets being behind it, and then mirrors on that wall. That's what it reminded me of. And I look back now, and I think, and Chloe was alive. She was like, "Are you finished now, ma'am?" You know, she's in her bedroom, and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's weird." I don't know. I think it was about 4 to 5 weeks after she passed. I remember looking back in my notes of all these things, because I think when you start doing these things, you start journaling and you start writing down what's in your dreams. If you meditate, sometimes you see signs. So it's really good to journal. So I journaled a lot of stuff. And when I look back, and my friend said to me, "You need to journal now with how you feel every day with Chloe passing," because you do forget.
Yeah, you do
a lot
stuff.
Because your body shuts down and doesn't want you to remember certain things, especially traumas. As you'll know yourself, you know, there are things you go through every single day and they're painful. Mm-hmm. And the body does shut them down. Sometimes you'll remember, sometimes you won't. So it's really, really important to write it down. Mm-hmm. So anyway, looking back, about 4 or 5 weeks after she passed, and I was looking in my book, and I thought, oh my God. And it took me back, and I thought, oh my God, that was Chloe. I don't know if it was, but it would have been about 4 or 5 weeks before she died. And she stood there. And I thought, was that something? You don't know, do you?
No.
But until you look back and you piece things together, you just think, was that Chloe? Was that an angel? Was that, yeah. Because you look at it and think, oh my God, why? You always think, why didn't I say that any longer? Because I said to Chloe, oh, it seemed like it was you. She's like, oh, shut up, man. Shut up, man. You know, what the hell? Shut up now. You're not doing that again. Yeah. And I'm like, well, it's no big deal. But obviously afterwards then,
you piece it together.
Yeah, like you giggle, but you don't. You think, wow.
Well, the brain's fine.
She was like, you do my head now. Look at you. You know, she was very much like that. Mum, you're scaring me now. Shut up about it. You know? And that's what she was like, you know?
Yeah.
But she was the same, and she would see 11 all the time. All her friends said to me afterwards, oh my God, Chloe's number was 11. And she'd always say to me, Mum, I see it all the time, every day. And she'd always have the phone on 12 o'clock, not 24-hour clock. So she'd see it twice a day. Yeah. And it was just one of those things. And a lot of her friends had tattoos, 11. after she passed away, everything was 1111. Lots of people resonated with that number.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared a lot of people, but it brought a lot of comfort as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was certainly something that Chloe was coming to terms with. And she was like, oh, what does it mean? I was like, it's an angel, but just means you're on the right path, or it means that you're aware that something's maybe not right. So you're in a place where you just recognise this stuff, you know?
With you now, obviously, you've taken your trauma now and you've gone and pushed it into positive things, in my opinion. Obviously, do you wonder if sometimes maybe, like, because obviously you're saying the universe brings you everything we need. Do you think everything was maybe like, this is just the way it was supposed to pan out for you to be who you are today and provide what you do now for other people? Because I think that YouTube is amazing with the music, and I'm going to let you talk about it because it's your thing. And we were supposed to come to the last one, but we want to get childcare to go to the YMCA and do it because either be right up our street and it'll be right up Man's Street as well.
Yeah.
Is that hard to think about, or is that something you've ever thought about?
What now?
Being spiritual and thinking maybe these things.
I've always known I'm different. I've never really followed the crowd. So even in school, you know, there was popular girls, and you know, I came to Ponty and lived when I was 16, and you know, you had people around you that were popular, as they say. I never really did anything to keep me in that circle. I didn't feel like I felt like I had to be genuine and authentic to myself. And for you to kind of be involved in these things, when you're young, you always think, oh, you know, that's where you need to be. And you ask anyone, like, I just have friends from everywhere. Yeah, I didn't have my own circle. I went from one to another because I felt like I couldn't be like them. And if I wanted to be around those kind of circles, I had to be different, and I were going to be different. Yeah. So I think from a very early on age, I knew I was always going to be me. So I was always going to be just me and our friends from this job, that job. Yeah. From, you know, coming to my kids and dressing, whatever. Yeah. And I just think I can't stick to a circle of people because I think I grow. And I think we're all meant to grow. Yeah. But I think for me, like I say, I knew I was different, and I knew that something in me was different. And I think going through this spiritual journey isn't about love and light, because it's not. Spiritual is all about a strong person coming to terms with how and why we are who we are, and being able to be better and to be a better version. And that's not easy. And especially like going through all these painful things and feelings I feel without Chloe. You know, I know people are, oh, you know, you're really happy doing this and you're doing that, but there's not a day that goes by where I don't cry or I sit and think, oh my God, why am I here? Without getting upset, that the reality is, if I'm going to be here, then I've got to find happiness from somewhere. And people don't see that side of it. No. And is that where you started doing? And that's where I started dance came in. So when Chloe passed, like I say, I got boys, I got Jack Alfie, and everyone would say, "Oh yeah, you've got to be here for them." I think you would have no idea, how hard it is to want to continue life, a normal life, just because you've got children. Don't get me wrong, if it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't have a reason, but that isn't always enough of a reason. Because I don't want to exist for my kids. Like, I love my kids more than people think you should. So people think that you stay around for your kids. No. You can't just stay around for your kids because you're going to give them a miserable life. Yeah. I want better for them than that. So as much as they are my support, I can't exist in this physical realm. I've got to find a reason to want to live here. And for them to have a mother that's happy, that has a purpose. Yeah. I think when you go through an enlightenment, and you go through understanding who you are, why you are, and what you are, and what your purpose is, all of those things help. And like I say, all these things I've learned haven't come from mental health. They haven't come from the NHS. Unfortunately, there's not enough out there. I've done all this myself through looking and searching and manifesting what I am and what I know, and meeting people of the similar ways, you know. And like I say, every single day I think, what am I doing? And that element of thought, thinking, what's the point, comes into my head every single day, maybe a couple of times a day. But like I say, going back to when I first lost Chloe, I remember getting up in the morning, and before I opened my eyes, you know when you're in a dream, so you're kind of unconscious, in a state, like you're in your subconscious in you, you're dreaming. And then even though you're still sleeping, your eyes are shut, you're conscious. Does that make sense?
I do this.
So imagine now, you're in bed, you're sleeping, you're dreaming. And then all of a sudden, one of the kids gets up, goes to the toilet, and in your head you're thinking, oh no, don't come in here now, wake me up, because I'm still in a dream. So it's kind of like you're in the dream, but you're conscious of dreaming. So at that point, you're awake, okay? Your subconscious is, and your conscious mind are active. So at that point, you're awake. And at that point, I would cry every morning. I don't know when it stopped. But I remember messaging from his dad, saying to Jamie, I just don't know if I could do it today. And I remember going back on messages thinking, oh my God. And I remember when those awful accidents happened up the road there, you know, over in Bailey.
Yeah, it must be quite true for you.
Yeah, speaking to one of their fathers. And I remember thinking, how did I feel at this time? And when I went back and I spoke to Gav, I remember the messages I was sending, and to read them back was unnerving. To think, and it takes you back, and you think, shit, I couldn't get up in the morning. Yeah. So before I even opened my eyes, before I even opened my blinkers, like I like, oh my God, I got to do it all again. I've got to go through the same pain. I've got to go through the same trauma. I've got to go through the same life with her not being here, with her not passing a test, without her in my life. Was like, why?
Yeah.
And I can't remember when that stopped, because I get up sometimes in the morning and I go through the same thing again. But over time, those come back in different ways. So like you drive in the car, you see the funeral home, done it again. Takes you back to that time when you dressed it, put it in the coffin, and all those things come back. And then somebody else passes away, and then you see how they're doing it, and then all the funeral things come back. So everything that you do, everything you watch, all comes back.
Yeah.
You put a song on, or you drive down a road and you've been there before, or I don't know, you see somebody of Chloe's age having a child, oof, comes again. Then they pass a test, oof, again, got a boyfriend, oof, got a girlfriend, oof. All these things are triggers.
Yeah.
And you don't realise when you lose a child that those triggers are going to continue for the rest of your life. So even though you feel like, oh, I'm okay for a minute now, an hour is okay, I'm cool in this hour, as soon as you go down that road or something comes on the radio talking about something, oh, my mum and a daughter, and then every single day something will trigger you. And you can't just throw it to the back of your mind. You just got to bring it into your heart and think, do you know what, I'm going to live like this for the rest of my life. You have to start trying to accept it. And that's all it is. All you can do is accept.
Yeah.
And then remember why you're here and what you're going to do to continue to be here.
Yeah.
I never understood suicide until I lost Chloe.
Yeah.
Because you go through so much pain in oneself that you think, do you know what? Like, I wouldn't want to kill myself, but I've thought of ways whereby I wish somebody could just take me from here, because you don't want to live in that pain anymore. Yeah. And then I had started understanding people who did want to be here.
Yeah. Because
I think you're only one way. You can only think one way. If you've never been through certain things, you're never going to understand another person's mind. Do you know what I'm saying?
And it's hard to understand other people.
Yeah, because if you've never understood it yourself. So for me to know how difficult it is to live in a life whereby you're in loss of a physical person, which was my child, and to live with that pain, I certainly understand why people do suicide, because sometimes if you haven't got children, sometimes if life isn't enough, you just want that pain to disappear, and you start to understand it and think, why is there not any help available, or such help? And I remember many times I think my car had broken down and I had to get a train from Ponty. The trains had cancelled, I had to wait for a bus, and there was 2 girls behind me and they were like laughing, coming from work really young. And all of a sudden it just comes through, and I thought, oh, I'm not here. And you just can't control all the pain. And as much as, like I say, I've read the book Eckhart Tolle, my friend San, one of my best friends, gave me a book to read, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And in there it says you need to become the observer of the thinker. Because pain feeds pain. And the only way you can dissolve that feeling is by becoming the observer of the thinker whilst in the pain. So then it dissolves that feeling. And I remember thinking, Dan, not now. And I'd become the observer of the thinker for it to dissolve, and then I'd stop. And all of a sudden, I'd hear something again. So even though I'm not thinking of a negative, and I'm not thinking of a past, I'm not thinking of a future, my present is actually showing me that these two girls are here, and they're reminding me of Chloe.
Yeah.
So in that position, I was like, oh God, and it just overwhelmed me, and I started crying. It was the most, and I felt embarrassed. So I'm standing there, and I'm like, I get on the bus. There's people coming on the bus. I don't want anyone to see me because I don't want attention drawn to me. I don't want to become a victim.
Yeah.
Right? So you're on the bus, and I'm like, and I can't control myself. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. And I get off the bus, and I'm in crisis, and I'm like, I just don't want to be here anymore. Honestly. Just from two girls that were just enjoying life, and you think, oh my God. And I'm on the phone to them, and they're like, what can we do? And I said, honestly, like, just take me to water. I haven't got a car right now. I need somebody to take me to water. And they're like, bring one of your friends. You've got friends, you've got support. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I feel guilty having them come and get me, take me to water. Because because I am that person.
Yeah.
And you're just in that, sometimes you just need somebody that has a job to come and get you. Not rely on a friend. Yeah. And as much as my friends are very, very uncomplicated and so supportive, I don't want to put that pressure on them because that's how I feel. It's nothing to do with my friends because I know my friends would take me anywhere.
It's something you need to work on.
It's something that I need to work on by myself. So you're kind of coming out to this like mind again thinking, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And there's no support, and that goes back to support then.
There isn't any.
So when your friends are always of a support, but you can't ask your friends for support, what services are there? And there isn't any. Yeah. And I know that there are like buddy services up with called Psychos to Cymru. I know, like, I volunteered before Chloe passed away, and I actually said to Darren, like, Darren, I've got it on the other side now. I can't be a buddy, and I can't take people out because I need that. Yeah. But you've got to contact people, I get it, to get the support. And, like, I got through counselling, went through counselling, had to wait a long time for that. And when I had it, the lady said to me, you've actually brought out traumas in me.
Oh,
so I can't counsel you.
Oh, wow.
This is not a secret.
Oh my God.
This is from mind. And the woman was lovely, and that made me feel like I trusted her. I was enjoying, to a point, talking to her. But from how I feel and how I think and what I learn, obviously you speak to them then. And she said, like, you've triggered something in me that I thought I'd been able to settle, and I haven't. So you've actually taught me something, and I'm so glad I met you because you've allowed me now to release this suppressed feeling that I need to work on now. But I'm not enough to support you right now, so I need to put you back in touch with mind, and I need to find someone else. And at that point, I just felt like I was let down.
Yes.
Even though I wasn't, she was doing her job, I felt like I was let down, because I was like, well, I don't want to speak to someone else a minute. I've just about got a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Now I haven't got you to speak to. And I said to her, do you mind if I ring you again? She was like, can't. Again, so you've gone down that route. I did reflexology, a couple of sessions, and then the lady Gunhill. So that was with Jewish. I don't think they supported me, and I'll quite happily say on here, that's how I feel. My kids haven't been supported. Schools still haven't got support with the kids. With counselling.
I was going to say, what types of
There's
they
still
do
nothing.
outside? Do they do
Nothing at all.
nothing at all?
There's a room in Ponty Highway Jack can go and speak to somebody, but that's about it.
I really resonated with that part that you talked about in terms of being the observer of the thoughts. That's something I do when I meditate. Kind of, I try and picture the thoughts as like cars on a highway instead of chasing the car.
Yeah, watching.
Watch it fast.
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful. Also, something you touched on, Ali, which I thought was quite powerful, was go on purpose. Because it sounds like after the trauma that happened, you kind of lost a sense of
purpose for a little while,
For a little while. It seems like you've kind of regain some
Yeah,
sense of purpose. And
definitely.
It seems like that's been an important part.
Yeah, because I think before Chloe passed, my purpose at the time was learning about myself and then go to water. And for anyone that knows, between 2020 and 2022, it wasn't just me. There was a couple of us that used to take out quite a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So people would contact us and say, oh, can we come to water as well? And can we try this and we'll try that?
Not good, but we know.
We did have a little WhatsApp group, but never ever very big. Because again, I didn't want to be the same as everyone else. I didn't want to have a big group. Yeah. I didn't want to set up a big water group because I feel it's too much. So cold water therapy. Yeah. So a lot of people came and did a lot of cold water therapy. People who were depressed or just wanted a different mindset. And like I say, I started with Jamie Redwood. From then on, I met Reese from Inch by Inch, who did a walk on a Friday, who had a lot of people come Friday. We did like a 5-mile walk. From then, we met Leighton, Katie and Rihanna came just prior to that. And then I'm trying to think like how it started. It kind of started that way, and then we met other people then through us going, and people would then be like, oh, can we come as well? And it was lovely because throughout the 2 years, we made lots of friends. I mean, you make friends and people drop off, and you kind of grow. Other people grow, and everyone's different. So you've got to accept that that person's on that journey or that part of the journey, that person's on that part of their journey, and you kind of just branch off. You're not meant to stay with people that you meet always forever. Some people you are, some people you're not. But it's all about accepting that's their path, that's your path, and you have to just lead by yours. Yeah, and that's kind of like what the 2 years was about. Cold water therapy, meeting different people. Some people stay, some people go, and that's just life.
I'm the type of person who kind of picks in and out of water therapy just because of time.
Yeah.
But if I lived near the, down
most places.
But yeah,
no places you should go to clinic.
I should.
But it's hard.
I should, yeah.
You've got to make it a priority. If you've got a bigger priority, then there's no reason why you can't do it.
I absolutely
But it's what your priorities are in your life.
Because I did find it really good at the time when I was struggling really bad in my physical condition, and I had loads of inflammation, pain, and I used to go down to my mum lives down west, and we go to Carpet Hall, and we do the moon swings. I still do some moon swims. My favourite swims, the sturgeon. Every year I like to do a sturgeon moon swim because my favourite one. It's like bleeding bread. And I always go Carpet Hall, moon swim. It's amazing. So Dan, I've seen you come in with this, and you mentioned that it's Chloe. So is it Chloe?
It is Chloe, yeah. So if I get nervous or I go somewhere new, I take it with me. So I've got a box, obviously, for anyone that knows, we've got Chloe up in, what's it called? Flint half.
Oh, right, yeah.
So obviously me and the dad had half and half. Mm-hmm. So obviously Gavin put his ashes in and I kept mine full in the house. So, I haven't actually filled that back up. So that's still from like a year and a half ago. So I went to Cape Verde to go with me. It honestly, if that ever got lost, I'd absolutely cry. But yeah, I take it everywhere. Waterfalls, new walks. If I'm ever nervous,
I bet she loves it.
If I'm ever nervous, I take it with me.
We're going to go back to cold water. Dan's going to go back into, what was you saying? Why you love it?
Yeah, why I love it and how it really helps us mentally. So for anyone that doesn't know about the ego too much, ego is a place within us that likes to feel safe, likes to stay where it knows best, right? And then there's another side of us that will want to try different things and want better for us. So if there was like a cold water barrel over here now and I said, right, I'm going to jump in, the first thing you'd think of is, oh my God, no, it's freezing. But then another part of your brain would say, oh, I don't know if I should. Maybe I should. And then you're battling all the time, aren't you, with these two little brains that say, I want to try it. No, I don't want to be cold. So when we do actually go into water, we do actually take the plunge and, we're in there. If you can go past the 4 or 5 minutes of the painful part and try and stay there for about 10, 15 minutes, then without realising, the ego is dissolving and it's allowing the other side of us to kind of work through and grow with what we should be doing. So by going into water and training yourself to pass that ego and shut the ego down and be like, no, bugger off now, I'm going in. This is good for me. not only does it give you the scientific benefits that has been proven with Wim Hof and all these science, tests that have been done, it actually helps the ego too, to become more manageable. So, maybe somebody would never have gone in there, and then after a week going in maybe every other day, by the end of that week, they've suppressed that and they're in a place where they're able to manage it. And then when they come away from water, something might occur in their life. Could be a business idea, it could be anxiety, it could be that they didn't have any confidence in maybe walking into a room with that many people, or do you know what I mean, or talking, say in work you have to stand up and do a seminar, or it could be anything, a presentation, whatever. If you've gone to water for say a couple of weeks and you've gone past it, your brain will start to think, well, hang on, I did that. Why can't I? And it does. It changes how you look at things, and it does.
New pathways.
Yeah, it allows you to become more confident with yourself, and the ego kind of like, it dissolves a little bit more, and that bigger part that wants to grow and find new things will want to explore.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, like I say, cold water is great. Not only does it do all of that, connect you with nature. If you're out in a waterfall, make sure you go to safe places. But if you're out in a waterfall and not just outside in a barrel or in a tin or whatever, if you could go somewhere that's free and it's safe, even the sea.
I love the sea.
Then you're able to kind of sit in nature and just take in that,
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing better than natural flow of water.
No, I agree. I agree.
But like I say, you do whatever works for you, whether that going to a place where it's there, whether that be something out the garden, it's better than nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. But, cold water therapy has definitely been one of the most important things for me. Being able to just zone out.
Yeah.
And go to that place.
And so I want
that?
to talk about like the is it called the shamanic?
It's called static dance.
Static dance.
So the static dance started, so again, losing Chloe, going through those emotions, I've always worked. And I couldn't work. I couldn't even think of being around that many people. And you're in a battle in there with yourself. I need to go to work, I need to earn money.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I physically can't do it, mentally I can't do it. Not because you can't, but because you just shouldn't. You're going through lots of different things, and it's very important that we grieve properly, and we're able to understand the grieving process and understand like what we're going through, how we're feeling, rather than just jump back into work and like put that. It's kind of like you're suppressing it and then just trying to forget about it. Mm-hmm. When you do these things, same as the doctors. When the doctors, I walk and I do walk and oh, come and get antidepressants, come and do this, come and get sleeping tablets. I'm thinking, what? I haven't rung you to get that. I've rung you to ask you what support you have for me.
Would you like to see
I have never taken. I've never taken antidepressants. Not because I look at other people and think you shouldn't do it, but I don't think
they help. I don't
think it's the answer. And I think from learning about antidepressants and what they actually do to the brain isn't what I want.
And so what they do to the body in general.
Yeah. And I think for me there are other ways of coping, and now he's going through, like you said, dark moments and whatever you want to call it. But you've got to go through those things to grow and take wisdoms from things. And I think when you set it in the mind and think, right, okay, I'm not going to be hard on myself now. I'm going to have to live on less money. I'm going to have to manage and set an amount of money to live on because I need to get through this pain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the only thing that I could really think about at the time was hubby. And that was for months and months and months. And then I got to a point and I was just like, I'll kind of go outside and walk sometimes because that wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. And then it became, I think, I still went out, don't get me wrong. And the easiest way for me to go out was when my friends said, right, we're going. Because they said, what can we do? And I said, look, honestly, I can't just go out to water right now. We're offering back. Mm-hmm. I can only go if you're telling me we're going.
Yeah, you needed to be
guided
a bit.
Yeah, so as much as I wanted to just cry and do this, and I was very conscious of I need to get out of it because I was battling with myself at work, my purpose, and I'm just wasted. I felt like I was wasted away, like there was no purpose in my life. I was just a mother, a miserable, pained mother to Jack and Alfie.
Yeah.
Not a particularly happy partner for Jamie, not a particularly happy daughter for my mother. And anyone that looking into that would have said, well, it doesn't matter. You're the one going through this. But to me, it did matter. Because if I was going to continue to be like that, I was never ever going to grow or be better or have any sense of wanting to be here. And that's really important for me. So as the months went by, I remember going into the forest on my own. I think it was like January, February. I can't really think like exactly when it was, but I remember Gemma Bynum, one of my friends. Now, we'd seen her on a walk, and like we got talking. We hardly were anyway, and she was going to this like women's circle down in the Swansea. I think it was cancelled, or I can't remember. But the lady said, "Look, we don't give money back, but we will give you a ticket for us to have to dance." And she said, "Should we go?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know where it is." So we were looking online. I was like, "Oh,
so you know we come around. That's how I land."
Yeah, and me, Rhiannon, and Gemma decided to go to start a dance. I'd gone to my mother's to go to a yoga class with Kim, my friend, and I was like, "Oh, you know, I'm going to this thing next week." And I said, "Why don't you come?" They were like, "Oh, I don't know." So we were all looking, and I was like, "Oh, they do cacao." Now, I had only known about cacao prior to that, and that's honestly the only reason I went was because of the cacao. Okay, this is the weirdest thing. But cacao, it came to me from learning about the Live Love Healing Hub. Have you heard of that in Porcano? So in Porcano, they've got like a healing centre. They do everything from fresh. So they cook food fresh, and they've got like fresh fruit, smoothies, everything is like anti-sugar. It's all great stuff, right? Yeah. Peanut butter, I think CBD, peanut butter spread instead of butter. They sell... what's it called? Functional mushrooms down there, cacao, not ceremonial, but they sell the powdered form.
Yeah.
They do brain tap. They've got like a room in the back, so brain tap. Lie in the room, it's really, really lovely dark room. You put these headphones on, and it literally like goes into the brain, and you meditate, right? Then they've got infrared sauna down there. They've got these. Sorry guys, who listen to it, I can't remember what they're called, but the foot things that. Like air, they fill up with air and they do something to like lymphatic, I don't know. There's something that they do down there, and they do like yoga classes, they do lots of different things. They do like a running thing every Friday now down in Porcana. A5, you've got like these like brighter things, and they get people to get out. Yeah, so they've like Tess and Rico, who own it, they've honestly like opened this place, and it's kind of brought so many people into this world of like what can we do to
create a space for people, and
want to find better, and become better versions of themselves. And so it was from that place I found cacao. Obviously with me, if you know me, you probably do, when I learn about something, I'm going to learn it inside out.
Yeah,
right. I've always been the same. I've been a bit of a perfectionist. I don't believe in perfectionism now, because it can actually take over the brain and
part of your ego, that you dissolve.
But like I say, OCD is another thing which can really cling on to you. Again, that's a trauma which you've got to try and go through. But again, I like when I get to know something, I want to know everything about it. So when I started drinking cacao, I was like, right, I want to know about this. So when I started learning about it, I thought, as much as I love that you sell the cacao in powder form, I'm not drinking it anymore. Because when I started reading about it, yes, it's better than hot chocolate, because it's not as processed. But again, it's still not as natural as ceremonial cacao, which is chocolate that hasn't been put through a heating process. It's literally being sun roasted from the sun. So, anything natural that goes into the body is so much better than anything that's been processed or heated or whatever. So I'm like, right, I need to find this cacao. So I go online and I'm like, right, I order this cacao. The cacao comes, I'm trying it. I'm like, oh my God. And it was like it opened my heart. So when I saw that ticket thing with Gemma, I may not have gone. But because I read and it said cacao ceremony, I thought, I've got to go. They do cacao. I need to try this cacao. I need to try more of it. So we us three went, and honestly, as soon as I got there, see Gypsy and Marie, who facilitates it with her team, they welcomed us all in. We did the smudging, which is standing there, they ask your name, they tell you their name, leave anything that doesn't serve at the door, set your intention, whatever that may be. Shoes off, it's on the ground. Choose your, think of an intention that you want to, intend for tonight. And remember that you're here as you, as one, and that we're at the present moment. And then I was like, okay, this is different, and I like this, honestly, as soon as I went in there, the vibes were just it was amazing. No drink, no drugs, just you. right? So figuring out who we are in Cacao. So we go in now and we're like, oh, we can have our makeup done. So we had little makeup bits done, you know. And then we were kind of like in and out with people. And then this Cacao ceremony started. And we did all about the now, the present, and be grateful for the elements, you know.
Yeah.
And then she started DJing. And I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely mental. Like, everyone's just, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. And obviously it's a journey. So it starts off very tranquil.
Yeah.
And then it progresses. Obviously, she did a lot of, what's it called, drum and bass. So, you know, it is each of their own.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And like I say, I've been to so many since.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh my God, there's not enough.
Yeah.
If I can feel like I can cry, I can laugh, I can act like whatever I wanted in a space that nobody judged, then this is for me. So even though before I started dance, I would listen to music, it would make me quite sad because it reminded me of Chloe. Because me and Chloe had such a big thing with music.
Yeah.
And obviously my family's like thing with music.
Mm.
So for me, that was really hard to listen to again. So when I went to this Ecstatic dance, I thought, oh my God, like I'm able, I don't know, it was like I could grieve for Chloe, but enjoy at the same time.
Yeah.
I had no alcohol around me, nobody drinking around me, and I thought, oh my God, this is my tribe, these are my people.
You felt safe.
I felt like, oh my God, this, I don't know, and it just makes you cry with joy. It was like the biggest high I've ever had, and to this day, it's still the biggest high I've ever had in my life. And I never wanted to, like, not feel that again.
Yeah.
And at that point, I thought, oh my God, I need to do this. What is she doing? And she's DJing, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I couldn't DJ. And then in my head, I'm thinking, I can, I just want to learn it, I've just got to learn it.
Yeah.
I don't need to learn much about music because I already feel it, and I already have this thing called frism, you know, where your hair stand up. Not many people have it, but if you do, then you connect with music. And it was one of those things that I thought, oh my God, I've got to do this. And I've got a vision. And I always say this after dance now. I'm third one in now, a week Friday, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, the vision is, if you have a vision and you want that vision, the vision is, and it will happen.
I believe it's,
and I just thought, I've got to do it.
Something.
Yeah.
And
but it's my purpose now. It's
Yeah.
my reason to feel happy.
Yeah.
So with the static dance, very difficult. It was very difficult to DJ, and you could get frustrated. But because of the spiritual journey I'm on, which is all about learning how you feel, going through different learning processes, you stop. Same with Cacao. Right? And I thought, right, if I do this, I want to be able to do my own Cacao ceremony, which means I've got to be able to set it there. I've got to be able to package it. I've got to be able to design it. I've got to be able to this and that. So I started to drink Cacao from different places. And I thought, right, I want it from Bristol. So I get it from Bristol, Elements of Life, and the man there is lovely. You know, I speak to him one day, it's in my house the next day. So within a day, it's there. And he speaks to you about where it's from. We speak about how it's harvested, how they have a cooperative farming thing going on. So, you know, they're looked after and everything's biodiversity. So I know it's come from a good place. So I did all of that. So then I thought to myself, right, okay, I've got the cacao, I've got 5 kilos of this stuff. I need to get this out because I want everyone to feel like I do.
Yeah, of course.
Which is, nothing's magic. There's no magic pill and there's no magic solution. But cacao is antioxidant, it's an anti-inflammatory. It is the purest form of chocolate you'll ever try in your life. It gives you a euphoric feeling. And if you understand connections from the body, again, go back to that book, you will only understand it if you feel it. It's not something you learn, it's something you feel.
Yeah.
And with cacao, because it does open the heart, scientifically. Yeah. It opens the heart valves. Coffee is a nervous system stimulant, so it can make you a bit nervous, a bit jittery, give you energy, but not great.
Dies off.
But not great. Coffee's not good for you.
Yeah.
This is. Because it's not a nervous system stimulant, it's a cardiovascular stimulant. So that will allow the heart vessels to open up much bigger. So blood is flowing a lot quicker and a lot more. And again, you've got the antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It increases serotonin levels. So I always say to people, you have to be your own therapist. If you're depressed, you think a dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. You know that to produce all those chemicals in the body, you have to do certain things that will increase those hormone levels in the body. So whether that be setting yourself a goal that day, not tomorrow, today, because we're not living tomorrow, tomorrow never comes, we're only doing today. So if you're going to set a goal of today, maybe doing your bed, maybe it is accomplishing something. It could be a form of exercise.
So
Individual,
it
is a good thing, yeah. And if you don't become your own master of your own mental health, and you think that relying on a service is going to be the answer, it's not, and you're always going to be in that same cycle. You need to wake up and realise that you are your own therapist, you are your own person. And when I go to ADHD clinics, they say to me, Dan, you are the only person that will do your life. You are the only therapy that you'll ever... And the woman says to me, every time I go in there, she says to me, Danielle, there's nothing we can do for you. You are your own therapist and you are your own therapy because of what you know. And that's the answer. Because you have to do those things every day.
Of course, and I kind of we both are on this train, and we agree. Would you like to see the NHS offer more? They say alternative therapies, but to me they're therapy in themselves: massage, Reiki, reflexology.
Yeah,
dances,
you'd have to say that it needs to be given. So, like, you know, like say you're given like a free therapy session with counselling.
Yeah,
they need to offer that with a Sabbath dance. They need to offer that with lots of different things, because when you're in those environments and you're around those people, you learn off different people. You listen to people. You want to sit there and listen to how they've got through things. And, you know, even podcasts, listening to all these things will help people. It'll plant a seed. And once the seed is planted, then it starts. Yeah. And like I say, going back to Cacao, you wouldn't believe it. I bought the Cacao in August 2023. And only January the 16th, my first one? I can't remember.
Yeah, because you did the 16th of February.
I know, I wasn't saying now. I'm on it. Or it's only for that. I can't remember. I don't know, maybe it was a 20th, I don't know, I can't remember. But my first Ecstatic dash was the first time I ever put my Cacao out to sell. So it took me from August to January to do it. Yeah. I had the packages, I had the money to do it. I just never did it because my mind wasn't ready. So rather than fight against time, I went with I just flowed. Yeah. And through Cacao, I designed the packaging. I should have brought with me. The packaging, you see the colours, they came from the colours I saw with Chloe. Sunsets, sunrise, dreams. The colours that Chloe loved, peaches, oranges, purples, pinks. They're all the colours that my mum and Chloe, that I see in my mind that resonate with me and Chloe. So they were really important. But I was drinking the cacao, so I'm doing it. Yeah. So I've got all this information. I'm writing down, drinking cacao, and I'm like, and I'm like, I'm looking at myself now. I'm like observing. I would think, bloody hell, Dan, you've drunk enough for that today. Because you don't have a headache from me. You've got to drink water.
Is it something you do every day?
I used to do it every day, but I probably have about 2 or 3 days off now, just so that I'm not, reliant on that as well. Because nothing is good. Nothing. You can't rely on anything. You should always rely on yourself. Not too much of anything, which is what I've learned as well. But it honestly gives you a connection to whatever you're creating, because cacao it helps you connect from the heart. So you create from the heart, not the mind. Yeah. So it's mad because I'd had enough that day and I thought, we're not doing it anymore. Then the next day I'd have it, and then I do the design, and then I do I'm gonna have a heart with it and it'd be different. Then I have my ingredients and all the nutritional values that I had to get, and do all of that. I put that in a heart as well. The back of the package is all about heart, dear, love, and but that's me. I've always put a kiss on a text, an email to work even, and a heart if I could draw it. I've always done that. So that's me. That's part of me. And then obviously over time I was like, right, I'm not gonna rush it. But then I got to a point, I went to the BMA and I said, look, I want to do it in January. And my friends are like, Danielle, you need to start doing your packaging right now. I had the brown envelopes for 3 months. Not the envelopes, the packaging with the foil inside. Had that ready. I needed to buy a printer. I had the money to buy a printer. Oh, but when I saved to buy one, I just never bought one. And I'm like, why are we not doing it? And then I spoke to my cousin and she said, well, why don't you just do it? Just do your thing and then just set... I said, you know what's stopping me? I said, I'm not doing it myself. I could have easily gone onto eBay, put in my own design and said, print off the labels, and then I would have had the labels for 20, 30 quid, and I could have just stuck them on. And I didn't know what was stopping me. And I said, no, I've got to do it myself. And she was like, okay, the printer then. Buy the printer.
Whatever you need to do, Dan.
Buy the printer then. So I bought the printer, got the paper, And I was like, right, do I get stickers now and then print them off? That didn't seem right. That's why I now bought stickers. Right. So I did it, and then I put glue on that was eco-friendly, that had nothing. So the whole process of making the cacao was handmade. So I cut every single one out. Sean, my friend, came up, he put rulers down beside it with a piece of paper, and we were cutting. The whole process was done with love. And you know, at any one time, I remember thinking, I got 3 days to produce all these packs just in case, because you don't know if anyone's going to buy them all at once. I mean, I've sold them and I've used them, but I had to package them all, and I had no time. And I thought, I am not going to package any of them when I'm in a bad mood, because you have to set an intent. Yeah. With cacao was all about setting intention and like putting love into it. And you know, at any one point, even halfway through a package, I was like, I threw it.
Did you?
Yeah. The bag went. And that was it. And I put that cacao in a jar, because I obviously had my own as well. And that was for me. So I could sing and just do what I had to do when the time was ready. And then I could feel it coming around again. I'm thinking, right, I've done enough today. I'm stopping. And I would write even like the sell-by date on it, all by hand.
We got
so cacao is literally done all by hand. Every single package is done from me, like cut, glued, front and back, sealed, and it's all done with love and intent, honestly. It is like the whole thing. So obviously I went to this thing, didn't I? Go back to, I always go off bloody singing, but going back to the dance, I thought, right, I've got to do it. So it was hard, because I thought, well, I've got to sell the cacao, I've got to be able to do the cacao, and I've got to be able to facilitate it. Yeah. I can't do the sound bath because I can't do it all. So I thought, right, okay, I've got to find somebody that can do a sound bath. And I thought, you know what, I'm not even going to look, I'm just going to let it come to me. And Larry Pugh, who lives in Abercynon, sent me a message, and she said to me, Dan, there's a lady that does yoga in Mountain Ash. I thought of you when I saw her. Sent me the details, and I thought, oh my God. What? So when I looked at her then, she did sound bath, and I thought, wow.
Crazy.
And I just looked at her up on Instagram. I went to this place, she wasn't there. And you'll laugh, because when you meet her, if you come to Saturday dance, you'll meet her. And the first time we did a Saturday dance, we hadn't met or even said how we're going to work it. I just met her once. I turned up to yoga, I was an hour late. I thought it was 5 o'clock, I thought it was 6 and 5. When I got there, literally all I said to her was, can you please come to a Saturday dance and do like 15 minutes of it sound back at the end? We'll sort out money or whatever. She was like, no, I'll do it until we need to do it for nothing. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, you know, I've got to pay for the hire of the hall. It's not cheap. So we'll work it out together and we'll do it, right? Because that's what you do. You help each other out, and we'd never ever take that from her. You know, she's got a gift as well, and honestly, she sings, and her vibe is. I can't even explain to her. You've just got to come and feel her around. So I went up there the one time, and I was thinking of actually putting a Saturday dance up there. And then the YMA got back in touch, and they were like, oh, you know, come and have a look. And I was like, oh, wow, this is mad. It's called the Mini Studio, it's called.
Yeah, it's good.
You know, it was dark, it's got brick walls. It was just, I don't know, it was just
it's a nice vibe in there, I
think. So yeah, on that day, so by chance, Lowry had messaged me about, you know, yoga, and she ends up being the lady. I just had a vibe, a feeling, and I thought, this woman is unbelievable. I just didn't have to hear anything. She was just so normal and free-spirited and gentle, and I thought, if I feel like that, I know everyone that's going to come to us other dance is going to feel exactly the same. Yeah. So when our first night happened, she turned up, dropped her stuff off. I was late because my car had a battery problem. Like, it's never ended in my car. There's always something wrong with it. There was a problem with the battery. We got there in the end, and I was stressing. The music wouldn't go on. People were waiting. It was one of those things, you know.
Keith Bowen.
Yeah, and she just took over at the beginning. She was helping me sage. You know, it was only me and Layla doing the makeup when other people should have been doing it. So it all kind of went as it should have in the end, but as it shouldn't have, but it was meant to do what it did because it worked. Yeah. And she was able to talk to people, and we just got through it. And at the end, we both said, like, this is our first time. We didn't even say to each other, this time is going to be this. It just happened because we believed in something.
And I think we can very much resonate with that.
Same with you.
Said with this
with
pod.
podcast.
It terms of not forcing it, letting it flow.
Yeah.
Letting things come to you.
And that's what makes it more special, because you just think, for somebody to say how did it happen, you just don't. You can't even.
Don't know.
You can't even explain it. does.
You have the intention.
Yeah, and the vision, and then it just happens when it's meant to.
I believe in
If you go against it, it doesn't work properly.
You know, like,
Of course.
your thoughts turn into an emotion, and
Yeah.
emotion vibrates, and it vibrates out, and then it returns back
It does,
eventually,
Yeah.
some way.
So if any of the listeners who might be local,
Yeah,
want
yeah.
we could put the
So-
link in the description for them to.
Yeah, so Ecstatic dances every 4 weeks. I am hoping to do it more often and when the numbers build, because obviously, you know, it is a lot for us to hire out the hall for 4 hours.
So hopefully with awareness better, if you can do one outside.
Outside, yeah. So that's finding a space if anyone's listening and they've got, like, you know, land
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever.
if anyone's got
And let us
land.
know, you know. But it is expensive for 4 hours to hire. So, you know, we say that the investment that is paid for the ticket is to yourself, really, but allows us to form the space and for us to build our purpose and our life as well. Because, like I say, for me to be able to live this life and be happy without Chloe, which I'm not, right? But the happiest I can be without her and with my kids is walking in water, going to water, and literally preparing myself for a static dance. So when that becomes more available, so when I'm doing it every 2 weeks, I'm not going to be stopping. Like, it takes me about a week to get all my music, because people don't realise DJing is really hard. You've got to feel music, you've then got to buy it, then you've got to download it, then you've got to put it into a playlist. So you've got to kind of, like, it's not just a static dance, you don't just throw songs in there. You've got to go through a journey with people.
Yeah.
So when you do it with the Cacao ceremony to start, like we have tribal making and stuff, but you start the Cacao ceremony. I even record that as well. Pre-recorded, that's the only thing that's pre-recorded, and like the background setting when we do makeup. But that is all done prior. I do like a ceremonial Cacao, and then once the music starts, so I go into the dance part of it. That is all live. So the only thing I can really have like ready for me is a list that I've already like kind of looked at.
Yeah.
So 1 to 20, 1 to 30, or however many songs I play that night. So that's the only thing I can really prepare for. The rest of it is just live. And trust me, like I've flipped that up instead of that one, or I click the load on that side when it should be that side. But I very quickly like put it back on. People know that it's not recorded. I'm actually live DJing.
Yeah.
And I've done it to a point where I am very good at transitioning now, and like the songs do flow into the next. There's no like stop.
Yeah.
You know, like you're doing into this, and then all of a sudden you've got to move. So it is very good transitioning, and you do flow. But at the same time, I talk to you about how you feel. So when you come in, I'm very, very like aware of you feeling uncomfortable, you feeling stiff. People, the majority of the time, do have a drink or take drugs to feel confident, to be able to dance.
Mm-hmm.
That's very normal to some people, and that's not wrong. It's just that's how people have built up their way of getting to that point.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, because of the way Chloe died in the car, I wanted to give an alternative space that I'd found to people local, so that if they wanted to come away from drinking drugs, they can. Because they have a setting now whereby they can go, they can dance, and they will literally find a way of being able to move freely without relying on anything. And when you go to that space, and I'm saying to you, you're going to feel uncomfortable, you want to move, your mind's saying you want to move your arm, but you feel like you're stiff, like you're stuck, you're blocked, you're in this dark place, and you're like, oh. Imagine I said to you now, go like that, and start, you'd be like, oh God, no. Because that's how you feel. Like, naturally, that's how you would feel. So when I talk to you, and it's starting off on tribal, tranquil, tribal, the music is very, like, slow, but tribally. So it allows you to, like, you know, move your hands and your arms, and to a point where you're not really being too vulnerable. You're still in control of yourself a little bit. But when I say to you, right, okay, the music's going to change up a little bit now. And like I say, it goes through the chakras. So depending on where we start, the frequency of music starts quite low.
Yeah.
So that's always going to affect the bottom chakras.
Yeah.
The chakra. And as the music progresses, the music frequency changes. So you'll find that throughout the set, the journey will take you from the bottom to the top, to the point where you go through a place where you're like, oh, like you want to cry.
Yeah.
And it could be a really good song, but because you've got past that point where you're like, oh my God, I'm actually moving, and I don't care what people think of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm allowing you to be aware of the mind. So when you're dancing, I'm going to say to you, what's your mind saying to you now? Yeah? On a microphone.
Yeah.
And you're
I've
thinking,
seen
how the
your
hell does
videos.
this woman know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
Because I can say to you, what are you saying right now? Because when you're in a club normally, you don't think about what you're thinking. You just think,
There's different frequencies and vibrations
yeah,
anyway.
but you're not conscious of the mind.
No.
The mind is somewhere else. It's thinking about the next drink or what's she doing or what's the next song.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in this space, it's very, very vulnerable. You're very, very vulnerable. You are completely you. So every emotion is going on. But when I say to you, come out of the brain now, be the observer of the thinker. What are you thinking? Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling unconfident? Are you feeling like people are going to judge you? Are you feeling like you want to dance but you can't? So all these questions are running through your mind. You're thinking, oh my God, I resonate with this. I can feel it. And then as I say to you, like, right, become an animal. What animal am I? What does the animal do? How does it act? Act like it. And you're thinking, I don't want to bloody act like an animal in front of these people. But everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And I'll say to you, shut your eyes. If you can't do it with your eyes open, shut your eyes. And I'll say to you, shut your eyes, let the music guide you. And you'll just be like, oh my God, you'll just be moving and like, and then when you open your eyes, you feel like you're uncomfortable again, shut them again. Because that's when you're really in tune and you're feeling the music run through your bones, your blood, whatever. Honestly. And we progress then. So the music goes from tranquil to tribal to house to melodic to bouncy to tech house, to hard tech, whatever you call it, to tag, back down. And through the whole thing, you'll see people like this, to that, to jumping up and down, to being an animal, to being on the floor, to lying down, to being like people go crazy. And then at the end, then we bring it back down just from one song. So it's very, very tech, right at the end, and then it brings you back down, very upbeat, but very like, oh, you know, takes you right back down. I don't know if you know Cacao, Saltwater.
Oh, I love that song.
But it brings you back down.
Yeah.
Right? We even got like Ben Hensley.
Nice song choice, Dan.
You know, loads of different songs, Power.
Yeah.
Lots of songs that will really bring you up. Anima, Enigma, Camel Fat. There's so many things in there. Tribal as well. Like, people that even know even a thing.
These songs even exist.
Yeah, but we know when you listen to them, it forms different emotions, it releases different emotions, it releases suppressed emotions, and you feel so many different things. And at the end, you're going to be like, oh my God, I don't want it to end. Or you could be a person that wants it to end now. You could be either of those.
Yeah.
But when we come back down, we literally lie on the floor, and then Indie Rose takes over and does sound bath. And she just takes you to a place, and like Tina Tara said, literally it was like being in Tibet.
Tina said,
you know,
like she's seen people like cry, and she's seen people, you know, she said it's an amazing
yeah, and she's been to a couple with me.
Yeah, and she
hasn't just gone to mine. Like we went to Bath, and you know, it was lovely because she could see the difference in him as well. Because every single Ecstatic dance is different.
Yeah,
you know, and like I say, it might not be for some, it might be for another, but for me, even if it's not my type of music, I still am grateful for the fact that that woman or that man has brought that space and that music to someone, because
it's helping somebody.
Yeah, and it's helping me, because you should accept music, every bit of music. Every single person that's produced a track has given love and effort
in that,
everything into that track for somebody to feel that. So to even feel grateful for an artist is an every feeling as well. So even if you don't like a song, just remember, all right, you may not like it, but somebody else does. And you have to just respect that person taking so much time to make that happen. They didn't give up on a dream. No. And all those places you go, like I never rave, you know, I love going to listen to different music that ain't on radio. I've got a radio on now. And I'm like, it's depressing. I'm like, I can't listen to it.
Don't even know what's in the charts at the minute. I don't.
And you can't. But I honestly, like, I see music in such a different way now, because it really helps me with clubby. So even though it's bittersweet.
Well,
as far as clubbing,
when you say that, you text me the one day, didn't you? Because I had Calling for a Sign by some Focus on.
Yeah.
And you text me and, oh my God, that's a lovely song. And it's one of my favourite songs. We're actually seeing the books this weekend.
There.
Oh, they might. Yeah. In Leicester. Oh. So, and you know, ever since that, right, I think of Chloe whenever I play it. And I think of that white butterfly you talk about.
Well, yeah, because we're going on walks as well. So butterflies never ever come to me. So when I started walking last year, I had butterflies like come onto my hands. I literally see them on the floor. Oh my God, why is it on the floor? Go like that, and it just onto my arm. And I'm like, oh my God, this is mental.
It's Chloe.
It's got to be. And I'm like that. Oh my God, Chloe, I can't.
And
Like, I think done 20 minutes, I'm talking this bloody thing on my hand. The woman was like, oh my God, what are you doing? I said, oh, it's my daughter. She must think I'm absolutely mental.
Oh, whatever, Anna.
The woman's like, your daughter? I'm like, yeah, she passed away. And she's like, come on.
Not everyone understand, but I
It's got to be something. I've never ever attracted butterflies before, and because it's real.
See is connecting to Chloe.
Yeah, my mother made books when Chloe was little, when she lived in America, and she had the story about butterfly and butterfly in a jar, and she called it Chloe B. Oh my God, this happened when I was 9. Like, when she passed, and we went through all this stuff, I was like, oh my God. And then there was a picture of Chloe, like only 6, 7, and she's holding a butterfly this big, in her hand in America, and it's like all these things, like unknowable. Yeah, it's all come. So I know that Chloe knows that we would recognise a butterfly. So she's definitely come back, and she's there
all the time.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's a butterfly, but she's given energy to butterflies to come to me. And I 100% know that that's that. Yeah. And I know if I ask her for help, she helps me. She shows me signs.
I love it, Dan. I really like.
So is that the dances?
So do you want to tell the listeners about your page? Yeah, for the side dance.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the description for that.
Yeah.
And also, is there a way, if they're not local, they can get hold of the chocolate? Do you sell that?
Yeah, so if you go to my Instagram, there's a link on Finding Your Happy. So Finding Your Happy with an X in the end. And the other one is Ecstatic Dance RCT. It's an easier one. Yeah. ECSTATIC.
We'll link it all in.
Put all these in the description.
Yeah, and you can buy the cacao there. Otherwise, like I say, come to the Ecstatic Dance. There's always like packages there you can buy on the day.
We really want to come and document it.
Yeah.
Like,
so for the pod as well, though.
Yeah, and honestly, for you personally, Mal,
I love that.
You know, like you like going to raves and whatever. Like sometimes we can't always go because I'm always looking for, what Hannah wants or some focus or camel fat, whatever. Like I'm always looking, and they're not always here because obviously it's the beginning of the year and it's kind of that. And you do feel like quite sad that there's not music because that kind of music, like me and Annette, a girl I met in a Saturday dance who came to my Saturday dance, we went to watch Ecstatic, and none of us had a drink, and she's the only person I've ever gone with who was actually never ever drunk. Because obviously I've gone with, with Jamie and friends and whatever, and they still do have a drink, and that's fine. But it was nice to just go and like kind of vibe with somebody that hadn't had a drink, and so for me that was. I don't know, it was like I just needed that night. But when you haven't got those nights, what do you do? Because that's kind of your healing. For me, music's healing, and it helps you with Chloe. It helps me to connect. Yeah. And like for me, I feel like if I'm not doing that, I need to Ecstatic Dance. And Ecstatic Dance isn't always available. It's normally a full moon somewhere else, Swansea, Cardiff. There are Cardiff, Swansea and wherever Ecstatic Dance happening. But you can say sometimes I've got like Alfie on that specific day, and I wouldn't want to take him because he doesn't like that kind of thing, So sometimes, like I say, it's give or take in it. But honestly, you've got to try it for yourself because it's like going to a rave.
Yeah, I would love
but
it.
It's a sober rave. And people are just like, I can't believe how this, like even the music.
Yeah. I know a couple of people said it's really good. That I said, do you online me to climb in?
Yeah,
I do live. Yeah. It's spiritual rave. It's kind of like a spiritual sober rave.
Yeah.
And the music you listen to, if you went and watched the things that you go watch, honestly, that's what it's like.
I can't
describe it to you.
We'll have to try every time we go to the next one and document it for the pod because we would like to push that on a pod. And Dan, thank you so much.
Good fun. And people just sit in a circle at the end and talk.
Yeah.
People in their own
lives.
Yeah. And closing circle is like the most important. Some people leave like just before because they've got to go or whatever, but honestly, I say to everyone, like, please do the whole thing. Like, stay in the whole 4 hours because at the end, people talk about how they feel. People write things on in a little notebook. So I've got a little notebook now, which I fold pieces of paper and I put in a jar.
Okay.
And at the time, we will like open them up and people can read them out, from the whole time that we've done it.
So it's really important all day and I just can't write about.
But it's good for people because, like I say, some people rely on going out on the weekend thinking that that's their release, when actually by Monday, Tuesday you're feeling like crap because we've drunk too much, or I've done it, we've all done it.
It's usually ends in it's regrets.
Yeah. And I just think you're not ever going to stop, and I'm not doing it for people to stop drinking. And I don't judge people that drink, and I don't judge people that take drugs. I don't judge anyone. I just feel that it's so important that we can feel that high from just being ourselves through music that's powerful, that's natural, that's, you know. And I think if you can find that in that, then that's an alternative. And if Chloe was here and that was available, I honestly don't think that she would have passed away, because I feel that had more youngsters known about these kinds of things, you probably wouldn't have got in the car.
It's definitely
In that
something I want to
situation.
bring my daughter to.
Yeah.
And when I do come, I would love to bring
Yeah.
my daughter, because I feel like...
But there's six kids going next, not Friday.
Yeah, so just to clarify, there's no age limit? There's no
so-
minimum age?
So, obviously, babies we wouldn't advise because it's too loud. And maybe I don't want to limit it, but at the same time,
Know your
if you know your
child.
child and you know your child would sit through something that was quiet at the beginning, and a child that would enjoy music, then bring them, because I don't want to set any limits or boxes. You know, like we have people come with autism, with additional needs, who have messaged me. I'm not, obviously, confidentially, I wouldn't expose names, but I've had messages whereby, the parents are worried that they may not be accepted because they may disrupt them. I'm thinking, no, you come and you completely embrace that child and allow the child to be who they want to be. This is a space where people have to be accepting of different people. And so if they're not happy with that, that's fine. But they shouldn't have to apologise
For being
for
there.
that.
Yeah.
So I've said, you come and you don't worry about how they're going to act. You've just got to flow and just see whether that's right for them or whether it's not. And anyone in that space is told prior to that on the ticket link, please be open-minded. Come with an open heart, come with an open mind. If you don't come. Because everyone in there is accepting.
In the same
Yeah.
headspace.
There's people that have been using drugs for 20 years who will be coming and trying it. And again, if you don't want to be around that kind of thing, then don't come, because there's going to be people there who have gone through addictions in all different forms, like drugs and alcohol. But this is for those people to have an alternative. They don't want to go back into that life. They don't want to be around people who may, put them in a situation whereby they may fall again, come off that wagon where they are in a good place. So this space is all about acceptance and just allowing people to embrace and to transform and to grow. And, so you're going to get a lot of different people with a lot of stories as well. And everyone that goes is on a journey. And I think if you can't hold space for somebody that's been in an addictive, situation with drink or drugs, then you shouldn't be in that space, because that space is for people to tell their stories and to tell you where they are now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really important that people are just open-minded and aware that, this is a space for people to continue now and to
I love
have a safe space.
the whole movement of it, and I love the fact that you've taken your trauma, and one of the most traumatic things you could probably ever go through as a person, losing a child, as you said.
I want everyone to feel how I feel.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
If I can feel like I do when I'm in a ecstatic dance and feel so proud of myself,
Yeah.
because I felt proud, and Sea Gypsy put on that ecstatic dance the first one I went to, and I always I'm grateful to. Every time I go, I speak about her. Every time, even in my ticket link, you'll see her name there, and I speak to her now. And I honestly, if it wasn't for finding her and for allowing myself to see and feel how I feel, I couldn't have given this to anyone else. But you know how I felt about myself, the joy and the safe space that I felt, even in such pain that I was feeling. For me to be able to give that to someone else, to feel how I feel, is all I want to do. Because that is, honestly, I just want everyone to feel how I do.
Yes, massive. What you've done is massive. And obviously, I just want to say thank you. I know you feel the same so much for coming, because it's so hard to talk about trauma. And I just want to say I love the movement, and I can't wait to link up with it, because I
honestly,
want to
really try
about it, and we will.
I want to say one thing as well about friends. So, I know we said a little bit about it earlier with trauma and stuff, and how did you deal with stuff. I really do need to say thank you to my friends, because you can't be a specific way. Like every friend I have are all unique and their own people. And you know, like for somebody who's going through grief or anything in life, and you don't really know which way to go about it, you don't know how to support them because you've never been there. The only thing I can say to you is you've got to let them be, yeah. But you've also just kind of got to be accepting as to how they move with that. And my friends have honestly just been there. Well, for the ones that have been there, they've been so uncomplicated, and they've just managed somehow. They've accepted I've been this way, that way, whatever. And, you know, just because somebody's dropped off doesn't mean they're not good. It just means that you're at a different path. You know,
Yeah.
So for anyone that is no longer in my life or no longer, you know, is in my circle, I still want to say thank you to you, and just to say that everyone is on a journey, and we meet people at certain times of our life for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes they end there.
So I'm going to tune in to Stephen Bartlett for a second. We've got a closing tradition on this podcast. We do ask guests to nominate a charity of their choice that's close to their heart.
Okay. I don't know many I do know a lot of charities. I think for me, before Chloe passed away, I was working as a volunteer for Signposted Cymru. So Darren is the founder. And like I say, I did a little bit of buddy work, and I took a few people out walking, and I had some good chats, and I know that he's doing a really good job up there, and I think with any money that can be put anywhere, it would probably be up there because it's close to home.
Yeah.
And I know with a lot more support, he can definitely get more people involved, and I know that the money that can be sourced there will be put in the right place for support around our area. So I think, for me, it's got to be Signposted Cymru.
So we'll put the link for that in the description, and any donations to there would be appreciated. And we'll also put the links to booking a Cacao ceremony, and if you want to buy the chocolate.
Also, there's links for tickets as well, and this is pretty easy. So if you want to join the dance and all that, then we'll link all that in the pod as well, and hopefully we'll go into our own little
we'll bring some
Chloe's birthday, that is.
Is it?
March is the third one, yeah.
Oh,
that's why I've done it this way. So normally we do the Ecstatic dance on a full moon.
Right.
But because of Chloe's birthday being the 15th of March, I've kind of done it so the third one is, I know Chloe's birthday, because it's a Friday.
We'll have to see what we can do.
Which will be a week after.
Yeah, 23rd, isn't it?
Yeah, so the 15th is a Friday, so the next full moon will be the week later, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
So again, getting them back onto that, I either do one directly a week later, or I have to wait 5 weeks. I don't know how to do that.
It's so long view.
Yeah, but again, like I say, I don't know how many people are going to go to the next one that soon. It's money, in it, at the end of the day, not everybody's got.
But you said it's invested in yourself.
Yeah,
and that is
by the way that not everybody can afford that either, and there are only so many tickets that I can give for free too, because we have to be able to have the space.
Yeah, and hopefully with this pod, we could reach people, and we will have more support. And
I hope that we can find another space that is big and kind of has a good feeling about it. And like I say, we can do different areas, because we want to definitely be able to go maybe further up Merthyr Way and do it up there, down in Penarth. Where my mum is. I don't want to be going anywhere near where Standard Dance already is, because again, when you're in this zone, you can't be stepping on people's feet, and you don't want to be doing that, because again, this is not competition. This is just about giving people an alternative space and more of it. Because if there's not enough of it, you can go back to the thing you don't really want to be doing. Yeah, which is what I would have done had I not known about all these different Saturday dances. But for me, Bath is quite far. Bristol is quite far. But Cardiff's fine for me. Sometimes they fall on days I can't, or weeks I can't do it.
So then more of it.
So we need more of it, and obviously in areas where there's not.
Yeah.
But that doesn't hinder anyone else, because we want everybody's Saturday dance to work.
Yeah.
Throughout.
I love that.
So
Dan, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for asking me.
Oh God, always. Just to know.
And yeah, to the listeners, if there's anyone you feel might resonate with this story, share it with them.
Yeah.
And feel that might help anyone. And hit that follow button, it really will help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bunny.
Sure.